33-point first half. We've been talking to you about the shooting ad nauseum. Did you like the shots you're getting that first half? Did you like the pace you guys were playing with?
No, I didn't. I didn't like the pace. I think generally when you're not playing with great pace, you're not going to really generate great shots. It was a high turnover half for us, and we just got to find a way to play the way we did in the second half. And I'm not even necessarily talking about that we were like mistake-free, but just the force and pace we played at with both ends. And we got to be able to establish that for the whole game, because we're certainly digging ourselves, incredible holes to come back from. And I give our guys a lot of credit for fighting the way they did to give themselves a chance to win the game. But that's a tough way to live, and I think when they play like they did in that second half, it's inspiring to watch. There's some force, but I thought their aggressiveness on both ends did not enable us to generate good shots, didn't enable us to get downhill. Had a hard time going by them on the dribble. There was a lot of, I think, factors into that.
Bill, I know this is the second straight game. The second half has been way different than the first half, but at the same time, the first halves have been so dismal, and it looks like a lifeless team. How do you make sure that these guys, do you get the feeling that these guys are disconnected or tuning you out, or what's going on? Because this it's kind of an unacceptable way for a team with this kind of talent to start back-to-back games.
Yeah, I don't think they'd compete, in the second half like they do.
Why?
I don't know. We got to. If I had the answer to that, Joe, we would try to get it corrected. But, and again, I want to go back and look at the tape too, because certainly starting Alex, we got off to a really good start. I think he was 3 for 3 in his first stint there in that rotation. But it does put you in a little bit of a different situation, because you're not playing him almost for 12 straight minutes. And I got to really take a look at that combination of guys out there and what that looked like. It was kind of the first time we did it. I wanted to try to keep some, Vooch out there, with that group to maybe facilitate a little bit more. But I think when you do that with him, trying to establish, like to your point, like, okay, we didn't get off to a great first half, but okay, let's put him in there, and he's been good with Kobe and Zach and DeMar and Vooch, and let's see if we can't get them, going. And I thought we started the game the first 6, right? But now you're taking a guy that's your energy guy in a lot of ways, and now he's going 12 minutes without playing. Because I have to manage his minutes, and I'm going to do that. But I've got to, since it was the first time we did it, and we talked about doing it a couple games ago, but because of his foot and not being available, missing 2 games, and I wanted to give him 1 game back before I did it. And, he's, I think, functioned well with that group, but we got to figure out what's maybe the combinations after that first 6 minutes.
So you do feel like these guys are engaged with what you're saying, they're engaged with one another?
I don't sense anything like that. I don't think if they were, in my opinion, and you can ask them, but I think if they weren't engaged, why not just throw the towel in? Why fight and work the way they did to get back in the game? I think it speaks to them wanting to win. But I think when you look at, to your point, we can't. We've got to be able to sustain that kind of intensity on both ends of the floor for 48 minutes. And I feel like sometimes when we come out, we're testing to see, okay, what's the game going to be like, instead of like just coming out and, okay, the scoreboard says we're down 15, we got to go. Well, score 0-0, we still got to go.
Billy, what you want on that last play? Vooch got a wide open look in the corner, but what did you want?
Yeah, we just had a couple options on it. DeMar was at the top, and Zach kind of sprinted into a screen and tried to slip out or set it for DeMar. DeMar drove it downhill, and they pulled all the way in off the corner, and I felt like we got Vooch a really good shot. I'm totally fine with the execution and what they did there at the end. I had Vooch ball side corner, and DeMar with an opportunity to drive him. DeMar actually turned the corner. I felt like he was going to get to the rim from my angle, but when they pulled across, I think he made a great pass, and we got a corner 3 out of it.
Was there any hesitation in putting Vooch back in? He hadn't played in so long.
Not really. I put those guys up at the table, and that group was playing so well, I felt like we needed to go with them. They gave us a lot of life, and they got us back in the game, and they had a great 5-minute stint there. There was going to be a point where it was going to be hard to play that amount of minutes in a row. But, Vooch is a professional. He keeps himself ready. I didn't feel like, I know he came out and sat for a period of time. But I still also think that, that group was playing really, really well, and I just kind of went with them.
What about the play after that where you inbounded across the court, Zach came across? Was that?
Yeah, I want to see. I didn't feel like we executed that quite correctly. I think that it was more of a stagger screen down. I couldn't really see with the movement of what happened, but I want to take a look at that. But it didn't look like we I think that's something we probably could have executed. The play we were down by 4? Yeah, I think we could have executed that better.
Billy, you mentioned the decision to start Alex, and that you guys have been contemplating that before you got hurt. Is this a look you envision using it for the foreseeable future?
I mean, here for the time being, just to see, obviously how it goes. I mean, I thought, like I said, I think we've closed with Alex, right? And we've closed halves with Alex. So you got a little bit of a body of work there. But I think that figuring out from that point, in terms of moving guys around, how that's going to look. Today I kind of had Kobe and Vooch, in that second unit there, just because I thought we needed some scoring, but we had a hard time scoring, during that segment. And I'm not putting that on Kobe or Vooch, but just the group did. I just got to look at the combination, what we did and what we could do differently, because you go in with, okay, let's try to help each group, right? Defense, offense. But when you really haven't done it, because Alex has been that guy that's come off the bench, and he's usually, after that first or 6 or 7 minutes, he's playing 12 of the next 18 minutes, so he's out there quite a bit. But then obviously with what we did now, you try to say, okay, what's the best thing for, those 12 minutes? And I think that's something I at least want to take a look at. And I think having one game is probably not a fair sample size, but, is there something we maybe could have done differently or better?
On the flip side of that you only got 8 points out of your bench tonight. What did you kind of see behind that? And when you do have Alex in the starting lineup, I mean, how do you kind of get that bench unit going a little better?
And I think that's the point. I want to take a look at it. I don't know right now. You're trying to, as best you can, going into the game, looking at, rotations and the players, combinations of guys, and maybe what we can, or I can do, better to help the group. It was kind of the first time, like I said, that Alex has started this year. Most of the time, he's been in that second unit in the first and the third, and he wasn't. And I'm not saying that he needs to be out there for that unit to function well. I just want to look at who was out there and why we maybe had a drought. Was it turnovers? Was it, lack of execution? Was it, we weren't playing fast enough? I felt like for the first half, I didn't feel like we were playing with enough force and pace offensively. And then I thought in the second half we were much, much better, with our tempo and our pace.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, yep, thank you.